This video is to show you how to boot a block if you need to. Of course, if you're not confident to do this, you should get help. The duty astronomer should be the first person you would talk to. Let me just start and describe the terminals I've got here. This here is the correlator GUI, which you probably know and love, and a terminal that we will use to actually boot a block. On the other virtual display on this VNC is an SPD plot, and at this point it's showing phase versus channel number. I've also got CABBs and assistance behind that. This display here is the Monica block status display, and under here is Viz looking at 0823. So what's going to happen is that Jamie is going to crash a block. Provoking blocks in such a way isn't something that we do very regularly, and so isn't coming in a completely normal manner, but you do certainly get this message about block 4 being offline. And if the block goes offline, you get an offline status or a error status in Monica. You also see the error in CABBs. Assistance will be reporting an error as well. So there's a whole lot of ways you get told that you've got a problem. To boot the block, we actually have to stop in CABBs, and then in the terminal next to this, to the correlator GUI, we will boot the block. There's a little task called spray, which is there, and it can boot any number of blocks, but on this occasion we want to boot one, and the block that's having problems is block 4, and you can see it's block 4 there. So is type spray, and then most of the answers to the questions here, there's a number of questions, and the answer to the most of them will just be the default, which is activated with the enter key. So enter, 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 and when it says which block, the actual block is 4 on this occasion. And it's saying, do you really want 4? And the answer is yes, so we just enter again. And this command where it says .system reboot, that's the actual command to boot the block. So execute that and then quit out of the task. Now this is actually booting a little CPU, so we want to see when it comes back. And we can ping block 04 to see where that is. It does actually have to have a 0 if it's less than 10. And ping just says, are you there? Are you there? And we'll see, and it gives you a time return when it does come back. Sometimes you have to wait a bit of time here. Sometimes it comes back quite quickly. And we have to wait and wait and waiting and wait and wait. And don't panic yet. It will come back. So at this point it's saying it can't find it, which we sort of know, but we can still be patient and be patient for a bit longer. And finally, we've got it coming up saying that the pinging is actually happening. You need to let this go for a few cycles, because often after 6 cycles it'll stop again. At that point you have to contact somebody to come and push a button at the compact array. So assuming it comes back in this sort of state, which it does the vast majority of the time, you've booted the computer itself, the block computer itself. Now you have to reattach it into the correlator GUI, or into the correlator process. This is done in edit. So you go into edit. Because of the way we provoked it, it's saying block 4 is in a bad state. Usually that won't actually be black out, but this is the one we need to do. So we type block to go to the process which boots, reinstalls the block, and it says block 3, so we want to go to block 4, and it says uninstalled, but usually it'll actually say installed, but it's lying. We type remove in the display and install to actually get it into install. What did I do wrong? Try again. It's installed now, and enter to exit back to the programming page and prog 4. This is the point where the greatest number of mistakes are made. If you just type prog at this point, it might take us an hour to recover. So definitely remember that you need to prog block 4, but go for it. And it's come back and return again to get out. Now at this point we can start observing again in CABB, and in here we will, once things get going again, we'll see block 4 comes back here. We need to wait for cycle 3 over here. And we can see block 4 is back. And block 4 was antenna 1 B polarization in the first frequency. So if we go and have a look at our phases, this is first frequency, and you can see it's antenna 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. So in fact it's block 2, antenna 2 B polarization in the first frequency that has got a problem, that had to be booted. We should reset the retransition modules with RTM init CAO2 1B to get this block. So CAO2 1B for block 4, and that resets the retransition modules, and we will usually see this becomes closer to the original value, and in fact it came back completely. Doesn't do that all that often. You could just get observing now. Usually you will need to do a decal to recover from this point. Of course, you should before decals you should always check that del-av is appropriate for the number, how fast your phases are wrapping. And the other thing we should be setting at this point is flagging the birdies. So this is the correlated birdies. They get reset back to, well, they get unreset or unset. The flagging gets unset when you exit out of the edit menu. So if we type flag, you'll see that there's 2044 channels being written, but we don't actually want 7 of those channels. So flag F1 birdies and flag F2 birdies will take out the bad correlated channels. And if we come back and have a look at Viz and look at the B polarization, which is the one where we've got which is the one that had the problems, this will be antenna 2 B pole, and this will be where we did the RTM init. Usually you do have to do a decal as well, but it will all come back to as it was before, or should all come back to before, just after the decal. And you're ready to get going with your observing again. You don't actually have to go to 0823 or 1934, but you do need a strong calibrator. I think that is all.